All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you everybody for joining me today. We are going to be covering benefit open enrollment. So we're going to be showing how an employee can go through the open enrollment process the same way that they would get into their self-service, go through the open enrollment that way. And you'll see if you have paperless onboarding with us, you'll see it's a very similar wizard. The format is very similar. And the whole idea of doing the benefit administration and benefit open enrollment through the iSolve platform is to keep the continuity for the employees, so they're used to going into the same place for time and attendance, looking at their schedules, punching, requesting time off, looking at their pay stubs, and then doing benefit enrollment and life events as well. So first, we're going to cover the employer side and show you some things on this side on how we set this up on the back end. So the idea here is your broker is going to show up your plans. You're going to decide on what your plans are and what you're going to offer the employees. And then we're going to take those and build them into the system at the client level. And then we'll start to put together some eligibility roles on the employees are able to enroll based on your policies and your eligibility roles. So first thing I'm going to do is go to benefit. Enrollment setup. And let's take a look here. So I do have the enrollment 2024 open enrollment set up in here. And you can see down here that we've put in all of our filters and all of our benefit plans that were chose by the broker and by you. And we put together all the roles on all the people that are available to enroll. And then we have our email alerts that we can set up, our page settings, manage enrollment options if you're doing a managed enrollment, any life events, and then enrollment reports. So this is what we do on our end. And you can see that you have active and inactive different enrollments from previous years. So that's what we do on our end. And then what's going to happen is once the enrollment is ready to be open, an email notification is sent out to the employees who are eligible, letting them know that they may log into their employee self-service and start the open enrollment. Now, if they're a new employee, then based on your eligibility roles, that once they're an employee, they'll be able to go in there and pick their benefits as well. And so we can also talk about after the fact what happens once everybody has filled out their open enrollment and submitted it, and then you approve it on your end, which I'll show you. What happens to the carriers? How do the carriers get that information? And we'll cover that a little bit as well. So from here, we've set up the open enrollment. So now what we want to do is go in as an employee and go in and start our enrollment process. So I will get an email notification. I will also get a push notification to the app if I'm using the iSolve Go app. For our purposes here, we're going to go in on a laptop or desktop here, a computer. They can use any device they want to use. It will format to that screen. If they want to use the app on the phone, that's fine. So logging in here, here's my home screen as in my self-service, and I can navigate down here to benefits. I can look at my current benefits, which in my case, I didn't have any last year. Maybe this is a new employee, so I didn't have any benefits in the system. Then I can go to open enrollment to start my enrollment for this year. So you could set up the message open enrollment 2024 is now open. It'll tell them how many days is left in the enrollment period. And at the bottom, you can put a little message explaining the process to them. And you can also, if you're familiar with our paperless onboarding, we always like to put the documents for them to fill out, fillable forms or anything that they can electronically sign off on this first page here. So if you have any affidavits or anything you need them to sign off on, you could do those here. But once they read through this, they sign off on those forms or fill out those forms, they would just simply hit start. And now it's going to take them through the enrollment process. All right. So the first step, your personal information. All this is already going to be filled out for them because they've they're in the system already. If they did open enrollment or paperless onboarding, then this would have been filled out for them already as well. Next, we have the beneficiaries and dependents. Again, another way to show that the system is all one, just sharing information, not different databases, sending information through imports and exports. Because when I went through paperless onboarding, I entered my dependents and my beneficiaries. So then when I go into open enrollment, they're already in there for me. I don't have to retype them. All I have to do is edit if there's any changes. So this all looks good there. I'm going to hit next. And then health and wellness is that affidavit again, but now it's embedded right into the wizard. So if you want to do on the first page where you can do the form there, or if you want to have it embedded within the wizard, you can do that. Next are current benefits. Again, I'm not showing any current benefits. I'm a new employee, or I chose to waive my benefits last year. So I don't have to worry about that. And then I go to cost analysis. Cost analysis is going to show what the cost of each of the plans that are being offered are going to cost for employee, employee plus one, and employee plus family in this case. If I hit display, I can filter and just choose just what my situation. Hit next. And now we start going through the process of selecting the plans that we want. On the right-hand side, it's going to start collecting in a bucket, and you'll see that in a minute here, what my plans are that I've chosen, and then the messages. So this is an ACA warning letting them know. In this case, this is a large employer that requires to file ACA reporting. So you're going to have to waive if you're not choosing a benefit here. The other things that you could put on the side here is maybe documents to the plan. So the Blue Cross plan here, there would be a document here that they can go in and read. So if they're at home with somebody else making their selections, they can read through the plan together and then make the best selection for their situation. All right. So I could waive here, but I'm actually going to go in and select and take a look at the plans here. So the coverage I'm going to say is employee plus family for my case. It's going to pull up all the dependents that I have in here, all the beneficiaries I have in here. It's going to tell me what the plan is going to cost per pay. If I want to do a cost analysis and see what it's going to cost for employee plus one or employee only, I can do that as well, just like we did before. But I want to go back and say, yes, I do need to choose this for everybody. And I select that plan. Now, if I had on there employee only or employee plus one, and I didn't pick somebody, then it's going to give me a warning like you picked your employee only or employee plus one, but you didn't pick anybody to cover in your family. If I had employee plus family and I didn't pick anybody, it's also going to give me an alert letting me know that I didn't choose anybody to cover. Next, we have our vision plan. So same thing, I hit select, come in here, and I can choose what I want to do for vision. I make that selection. It's telling me who I didn't select. So that's a little double check just to make sure I'm doing everything correct. I'm going to say, yeah, that's correct. Hit continue. And now I have the buy up life insurance. Let's say I want to waive that. And then I choose my waive reason. I'll waive that plan there. Then it takes me to the additional medical plan. I could go in and select that as well. I could read about the plan over here. In this case, I already have the other medical plan, so I'll waive this one as well. And we'll say other coverage. Waive plan. Now we come to short-term disability. We're going to select that. And let's say employee only for this. It's covering me, and this is offered by the company. So I hit select plan. Next, I get to compare my costs from last year to this year. And so I didn't have any last year, but if I did, this would be a nice comparison to see how much more I'm going to pay or potentially less per pay, per month, or per year. We go up to the top, we see that shopping cart I mentioned with all the plans being stacked up in there, just like an Amazon cart. From here, I can hit next. and any tasks to complete. So if I don't have any tasks, I can hit submit benefits, and I can also download my choices. But if I miss something, it would let me know what I missed, and I could click on it and it would take me back to that selection where I would then make the correction or make the selection, and it'll allow me then to submit benefits. So it's a very easy process for the employees to go in, make their selections, whether they're on their phone, laptop, desktop, tablet, at home, making those choices. And then once they're finished, they simply hit submit, and they can always come back and they can make changes to this until their enrollment is closed. Okay. And that's what it says here. Need to make a change. You have until December 31st because we have this set up for a long period of time. Here's all the choices. And at this point, the employee is good to go. So the next step would be for whoever is handling approving the benefits on the employer side to go in. They're going to go to Enrollment Manager, and they can start to filter to see what employees have finished, what employees are in the process, have been completed. Maybe they need to roll back something for an employee because an employee feels like they've made a mistake, or maybe you need to roll back and reset a particular plan because you found out, you checked it and you said this doesn't make sense for them. I'm gonna reset this and allow them to go back in and make a different choice. You have all those filters on the left here. We're going to take a look at a couple different ones here. So we have enrollments in progress. So you have all the different enrollments that have been started but not finished. And I will be getting, as the employer who is responsible for approving these, I will be getting messages and alerts, emails, letting me know that when somebody has finished. So I can go in and start taking care of those as they come in if I choose. Enrollments pending approval. This is the one I just did. If I needed to roll back or reject a transaction, I can do that here. I can choose just one of them to approve, or I can choose just one of them to reject, or I can go in and take a look and say, okay, this is all correct there. This is correct here. And then I can go in and just approve all or reject all. I would hit process here. It says it cannot be undone. I would hit OK. And then that employee would become part of the enrollments that would be sent out to the carriers. And so the benefit detail report is a report that we would make available to you if you do not have the ability to do carrier connections. Carrier connections is when the plans are completed, they're all chose what you want to do for open enrollment. We can create a report in our report writer that sends that information to the carriers. Now, every carrier has their own requirements for who they can have take a feed, who they can take a feed from. So let's use an example of in a company that has 200 employees, 100 of them, 101 of them have, over 100 of them have chose benefit or eligible for benefits and chose benefits. Then UPMC, Highmark, whoever it may be, will accept a feed. So over 100, they'll accept a feed. Some carriers will say, if you have 50 employees that have enrolled, we will accept a feed. And what a feed means is in the report writer, we create a report that the carriers, in the format that the carriers want. So then we can set up automatic feeds that go from iSolved to, let's just use UPMC as an example. Create the report in iSolved, making sure that it's the correct format that UPMC wants. We do testing back and forth. And then once it's live, and there's an enrollment or there's a life event or there's a new hire or a termination, that information goes directly from iSolved to that carrier and updates the carriers. You don't have to export or import anything. It happens automatically. What is so nice about that is you never have to worry about terming when somebody terms an iSolved and then you have to go term them at the carrier. We see it happen a lot where someone's termed in the system and they were never termed at the carrier. So the employers end up paying for benefits for an employee that is termed in their system and couldn't even receive benefits. So depending on the carrier, we can set up carrier connections for them, carrier feeds, EIN feeds, EID feeds. And then the other option is for vision and dentals. There's also companies that will have feeds available for those plans. So just based on who your carrier is, we would take a look and see how many feeds you need, and we can set those up for you. All right. We do have a question. How soon before open enrollment do you need the plan information to load in the system? That's a good question. Generally, this depends on your broker. So as soon as we can get them, we want to start building them out to have enough time to make sure we're doing testing. The problem tends to be that the brokers don't get you the updated rates or the new plans. You know, they get them when they get them. So sometimes it's a month before, sometimes it's 20 days before. So really, it's as soon as you can get your broker to get us the plans and get us the rates is when we want to put those in. So, you know, anything under 25, 30 days becomes very tight for us to get those in there correctly. So I would say as soon as you can get the information to us, the better. All right. I don't see any other questions for now. If you do not have carrier connections, you don't want to pay for the carrier connections, and you just want to update the carriers on your own, that benefit detail report is going to give you all the information you need to update the carriers. You would just have to go to each individual carriers and update the information there. So if you have a new hire that finishes enrollment in the system, you would take a look at that report, update them at the carrier. If you have a termination, you'd have to update it at the carrier. But for open enrollment, you would print out that benefit detail report. It's going to have everybody on there and their selections, and then you can go to the various carriers and make the update there. All right. So again, the reason for the online open enrollment is to give the employee the continuity to go into the same system for everything, right? That's what all payroll systems and HR systems are trying to do, is to make it as easy as possible for your employees to do everything they do from a day-to-day basis. So they come in, they clock in, they clock out, they may take some PTO, request PTO, they're checking their pay stubs, they're changing their address, they're changing their direct deposit, maybe they're changing their withholding. They're doing all these things in self-service. Then when open enrollment comes around, they get a notification, they go in, they can go to the exact same spot, they're already logged in because they're looking at their other things. They don't have issues with logging in because it's the same login, able to make those selections and then go about their day without the heartache of, you know, learning a new system and everything that comes with that. So if you have any additional questions, you can feel free to send those my way to jason.simmons@ctrhcm.com. If you are interested in getting pricing on what our benefit open enrollment system costs, there is benefit administration is what the product is, and an open enrollment comes with that. So if you want us to put the plans in there, we can do that when we add that. I can get you some pricing on that. Another advantage of having the benefits in the system is not only can we do ACA reporting if we have the medical plan in there, if you're a large applicable employer, but let's say that the provider changes their rates and it goes up 1%. Instead of having to go into the system and change it 1% for all the employees for the deduction, you can go in and change it at the plan level, and then it changes it for everybody. So it does save a lot of time there. Not to mention all the additional reporting you can get between full comp statements you can do, because now you know what you're paying for benefits. So if you would like more information on that, please reach out to us. If you would like a demo for you specifically that is more geared toward towards your specific organization, we could do that as well. And like I said, if you think of any other questions, send them our way. We'll get them answered for you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.